that they're throwing out there. I just wanted to talk about some of the definitions. The largest U.S. bill in the circulation is the $100 bill.
Yes.
It takes 10,000 to make $1 million. 10,000 bills. All right? And then we go into, again, going back to the 50s, 60s, that we heard hundreds of thousands, we heard millions. But then you get to the trillions. And Wikipedia tells us that 1 million millions equal 1 trillion. And then I'm across this. If you had gone into business on the day Jesus was born and your business lost $1 million a day, day in and day out, 365 days a year, it would take you until October of 2737 to lose $1 trillion. Does the American people have a clue?
No.
Any clue at all of what they're throwing around here?
No. And I have a question for you. What comes after $1 trillion? I don't even know.
A gazillion?
A gazillion?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows? But I also want to say to you about Ron Paul.
Yes.
I happen to be a Campaign for Liberty leader in a Congressional District 10, which is in Michigan.
Uh-huh.
And I would really like you to promote Campaign for Liberty. We are growing by leaps and bounds on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And Ron Paul made a speech on the House floor on 2/12 of 2009. It was phenomenal. It will go down in history. And it is called What If? And Ron Paul goes through what if, and it is phenomenal. And I recommend everyone to go to that speech that was just done on 2/12 of 2009.
All right.
And I thank you, boys, for all that you've done. And we continue to fight, and we will bring this country back. All right? Not just this country, because it's not just this country. It is our world. It is the planet. It is the people. And we will get back to what is right and what is love, because if it isn't that, it isn't anything. It isn't worth fighting for.
Says it pretty much for me. What do you think of the idea of Ron Paul, if he can make no further headway in D.C., becoming the governor of Texas?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he will make the right decision if that is the decision that is to be made. But I want to tell you something, that we are working. I'm a delegate. I just became a delegate. I was elected a delegate first time this past August. We have over 250 delegates now in Michigan that were originally started by Ron Paul. This is a movement that's going across this country, and I hope that the talk show hosts across this country, including Genesis, RBN, and all of them, will promoting Campaign for Liberty, because we are growing, and it starts in our own neighborhood, in our own city halls. That's where we must start. We have to take it back the way they took it from us to begin with.
Well, and I'll tell you what, Diane, just hang on here a second. That speech that you remarked about, it's only 4 minutes long. We will play that.
Thank you very much.
And we'll get your comment. And by the way, the question I'd ask you, after $1 million comes, of course, the billion. And we can become real familiar with the $1 trillion figure. Well, what comes after that? And you were right, quadrillion. But after that, quintillion, sextillion, septillion.
I don't even want to know. I can't go there. I can't get to trillion.
No, don't get there. No, give them some time. Hang on. Here's this clip.
Okay, sweetie.
Here's this clip. Hold on. Wake up, America.
Request unanimous consent to take my 5 minutes at this time.
Without objection, the gentleman is granted 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have a few questions for my colleagues. What if our foreign policy of the past century is deeply flawed and has not served our national security interests? What if we wake up one day and realize that the terrorist threat is a predictable consequence of our meddling in the affairs of others and has nothing to do with us being free and prosperous? What if propping up repressive regimes in the Middle East endangers both the United States and Israel? Occupying countries like Iraq and Afghanistan and bombing Pakistan is directly related to the hatred directed toward us. What if someday it dawns on us that losing over 5,000 American military personnel in the Middle East since 9/11 is not a fair trade-off with a loss of nearly 3,000 American citizens, no matter how many Iraqi, Pakistani, and Afghan people are killed or displaced? If we finally decide that torture, even if called enhanced interrogation technique, is self-destructive and produces no useful information, and that contracting it out to a third world nation is just as evil? What if it is finally realized that war and military spending is always destructive to the economy? What if all wartime spending is paid for through the deceitful, evil process of inflating and borrowing? What if we finally see that wartime conditions always undermine personal liberty? What if conservatives who preach small government wake up and realize that our interventionist foreign policy provides the greatest incentive to expand the government? What if conservatives understood once again that their only logical position is to reject military intervention and managing an empire throughout the world? What if the American people woke up and understood that the official reasons for going to war are almost always based on lies and promoted by war propaganda in order to serve special interests? What if we as a nation came to realize that the quest for empire eventually destroys all great nations? What if Obama has no intention of leaving Iraq? What if a military draft is being planned for the wars that will spread if our foreign policy is not changed? What if the American people learn the truth, that our foreign policy has nothing to do with national security, that it never changes from one administration to the next? What if war and preparation for war is a racket serving the special interests? What if President Obama is completely wrong about Afghanistan and it turns out worse than Iraq and Vietnam put together? What if Christianity actually teaches peace and not preventive wars of aggression? What if diplomacy is found to be superior to bombs and bribes in protecting America? What happens if my concerns are completely unfounded? Nothing. But what happens if my concerns are justified and ignored? Nothing good. And I yield back the balance of my time.
Ms. Woolsey from California.
Paul for governor. What do you think of that, Diane?
And that speech will go down in history because, you know what? That speech was not only truthful of Ron Paul, of what he is and who he is, but when the time comes, it will take place.
You fine folks, and congratulations, you've now made this the highest listened to program on this network in almost the 5 years of existence we've been here.
Hallelujah.
And I'm here to tell you fine folks out there, and I've been saying this, I've said this so many times, I've bored myself with it, but I kept saying that the cure to is in the respective states, and the states themselves have to pick up this gauntlet and challenge the Fed, put them back in the box. And I guess Alex Jones was on George Norrie last night.
He sure was.
Talking to millions of people. They won't let me on there, by the way.
Incidentally, they won't let me on either.
They won't let you on, Bob? I would love to tell millions of people, have the opportunity to tell millions of people that this network is there, but they won't let me on. And that's unfortunate. That is extremely unfortunate. But anyhow, enough of the sour grapes. But, Diane, I appreciate that very much.
Thank you so much, John, Robbie, and Bob. And let me tell you something. Just keep throwing it out to the universe and to the Creator and to the Mighty One, because you know what? We will not be defeated. We will. There are too many good people out this, not just of the United States. We are good people, and we will defeat what this evil has brought to us.
Absolutely. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Love you.
Thank you. Thank you for calling. Yeah, that's always kind of been a sticking point because they wanted to know what my hook was. I said, well, what do you mean? What is my hook? I said, I've been around for 15 years. I've done 2 networks. I have met and spoken with some of the planet's brightest minds. And, they said, well, what qualifies you to be on George Norrie? I said, well, how about this one? I first put Steve Quayle, which is a regular guest on your program, and Alex Jones. I first put them up nationally. For anything, give me a little bronze star here for recognizing talent. I have Kurt in, it's not Michigan, is it? It is Michigan. Kurt, Michigan.
No. Well, you got Kurt right.
That's what I figured, and I questioned my board up. He's a little nuts today. Okay.
Let's see. Did somebody from Michigan called and said they'd give you $1,000? Is that true?
That was Scott in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan.
Oh, then what did he say? He had to have somebody match that. Is that?
That's right.
I mean.
That you just did?
Yeah.